Yeah, I'm just gonna go rant about cartoon tropes I really do not like. And I'm gonna start with tropes that are more like a me problem than inherently a problem. But for me, I absolutely hate the super genius character who's very belittling and condescending to everyone. I absolutely hate them. Like, I hate those type of people in real life. And usually I just really want to punch them in the face. Though I will admit that's partially because of dyslexic kid trauma. So yeah, I just... And if you know what it's like to have a learning disability, yeah, you're gonna hate anyone who acts very condescending. And absolutely, in general, I really hate condescending people. And especially ones who think they're better than everyone because they have a high IQ. Which, in my personal experience, having a high IQ does not mean damn thing if you don't have wisdom with it. In other words, I think it's more important to be wise than it is to be smart. The other trope I really do not like. I guess on another related note is the whole like TV bad versus books good. And that's also related to dyslexic kid trauma. And that's half of me is that those type of message or shows didn't really got me wanting to read as a kid. Because from my perspective is that, why bother? Because I guess I should explain what dyslexia is. It's a learning disorder where if you try to read, it's like it's rather gets confusing when you're reading a thing versus a visual media. So, for example, mouse can look like house to you, or my specific dyslexia skips out on a like law of words, especially words that aren't visual, like the or and. And so it causes you to have more. You can be a very hyper intelligent person and speak very lovely English, but when you're writing, someone can mistake you for English is not your first language, which actually happened to me so many times. But yeah. So with those messages, I think they're kind of harmful for people with like dyslexia, and I think it kind of discouraged people to read more. At least for me, that's stopped me from reading, and also having to deal with very condescending adults and kids, but mostly adults. Okay, this one. Okay, I'm gonna have be burned by the stake by romance fans and both romance fans. I personally not a big fan of enemies to lovers or friends to lovers, and usually because I think they can be done well, but usually they are done really poorly. Especially with the case of like enemies to lovers are a little bit easier. Is like, I just really don't like the argument, oh, two characters arguing with each other, it must mean they like each other. Well, and then watching it through, I'm like, why do these people like each other? Like, there is no build up on why they should like each other. It doesn't make any sense. And then with friends to lovers, usually there's just a lot of melodrama. And, like, I think that's maybe why I don't like romance that much. It's just like, as a genre, it's just like, not necessarily because I'm against love, and I think love is a very beautiful emotion, but more because of like how much unnecessary forced like conflict there is, and just makes the two characters come off as really immature. Like, romance writers, like, give us a reason why these two actually should be with each other, besides the, oh, they like each other. Like, give us more than that, please. And please don't just, I guess, granted, I'm not like, again, like, it's good for couples to like argue sometimes, but like, you know what I mean. Like, if you constantly, like, anytime you're like walking with someone and you have to argue with them, then like about literally everything, it's not that fun. It's not fun to watch or listen. So yeah. A second one I really also hate is like, oh, she or he likes you both as bullying. I guess rephrase that, sorry. He or she is bullying you because they like you. And to me, I find this rather dumb because of my own experience, but also like just because they like you doesn't mean you have no right to stand up for yourself. Sure, how I went with it was rather brutal. For context, there was a boy who bullied me, and he was very, very cruel. And then I learned why, and that's because he actually had a crush on me. And, well, granted, it was a girl who told me this, because she went and read his diary. Like, kind of bad, though, to be honest, I kind of understand her, because bro was a massive jerk, so, yeah. And she went and told me. And then he was threatening to beat up the girl. And then I told him is that if that's how you treat people that you love with mistreatment, then you do not deserve love and you deserve to die alone. And yeah, that was a brutal thing to say to someone, but I think I've proven my point. Is like, I really just dislike this trope because I think it discouraged kids from, standing up to their bullies. And in my opinion, the best way to get rid of a bully is to stand up for yourself. Do not do it in my way, where it's just very mean and harsh. Okay, this one I also infuriate me is like the twins who are basically, or triplets who are basically like the same character. I mostly hate it because I'm a twin myself, and let me tell you, twins are their own individual. Same with triplets. Like, sure, you do actually influence each other's personality, and is a very different relationship than most people. I guess the best way to describe it is kind of like how your friends influence your personality, but you're still like individuals with your own belief and circumstances. So that's another one. Lastly, I think we're all in agreement, and I'm not going to even explain why, is love triangles. They suck. Well, my main reason for disliking love triangles is mainly because I find it just rather jerky to basically string on two people because you cannot make up your mind. And to be honest, just granted, I guess I wouldn't mind like a true love triangle, which is where character A is in love with character B, but character B is in love with character C, but character C is in love with character A. Which I think that, to me, I think that's a more interesting angle because that is, in my opinion, more true to real life, where you like a person, like love a person, but that person doesn't love you back and is in fact in love with another person. So, kind of like secret of the heart. But usually it's not that. It's more of a love angle, whereas like character B and character C is in love with character A, and so character B and C fight each other over character A. Or character A is in love with both character B and C. And usually, in my opinion, yeah, I guess the thing that frustrates me is that, like, oh, these characters are just your average Janes or Jones who are just very good and morally people, when what they're doing is definitely not that. Not to say you should have like perfect characters, but like hopefully I'm making sense is like how they don't really like call it out as being toxic or very manipulative. But I'm also not just hating on character A for this. I'm also going to hate character B and C because guess what? You're not entitled to another person's love, and you should take no as an answer. Like, but yeah. This one I'm actually. And lastly, I think the last one I'm going to rant about today is both the damsel in distress and the girl boss. And why I put them together is that they both are kind of sexist depictions of a female character. And the issues is that either she has to be a weak damsel who can't do anything herself, or a a perfect goddess with no emotions and no flaws, and she can do and super invincible. And I think I can try with damsels in distress. Is like the issues with them is like half of it is really frustrated because I'm like, at this point you should have like a plan to deal with being kidnapped, and you shouldn't just like wait for someone to save you. Actually, you know what, this quote actually fits it, is like, you do not want to be the princess or the knight, because constant self-reliance can lead to isolations and inability to form emotional attachments because you're expected to be the taken care of. While with a, but if you're always relying on another person, then you're not going to self-develop. In other words, they both stunt development in different ways. Like, granted, this would actually like make interesting character arcs, but like, hopefully I'm making sense like the issues with them. But yeah, here's what do note this is just tropes I personally do not like. I think, in my opinion, I think any trope can be done well depending on how you write it. Like for example, Phineas and Ferb. On paper, Phineas and Ferb would not at all work as a show because it's technically the main plot is virtually not a plot but more of a setting. But it still works as a show, so that's just an example. But yeah, these are just rants, my little rants. The end.